Get ready to be amazed. Get ready to be transformed. Get ready to believe it is possible. You're entering the growth zone on the Guts and Glory Show with your host, Louise Scott.
Hey guys, welcome to the Guts and Glory Show. My name is Luis. I'm your host. I'm excited that you're here. Excited that you are here to listen to me, which is a special honor. I never take it for granted. I was talking to a friend of mine recently, and we were just talking about employees, and he was telling me about how employees, they just don't care anymore, and how they are so entitled, and how he remembered when back in the day you were just scared to lose your job, and the reality is we just don't live in that environment anymore. I mean, people have options. I heard Gary Vee recently say that people can go and get on TikTok and figure out how to dance, and in a year be super successful. And one of my favorite, if you want to check out a TikToker that I just absolutely love, is Corporate Natalie. So I don't get anything for endorsing her, but Corporate Natalie is one of my favorite TikTokers and content creators. She just kind of makes fun of the corporate world and so forth, and Gen Zers and et cetera. It's funny. I mean, some of it feels true sometimes, but most of it's not. But the thing is that I think she was one of the creators that said that she's now making a full-time living off just creating content and being a TikTok celebrity. So people have options nowadays, and they're not going to just submit to whatever you want, whatever you say. And so we have to treat people better. We have to be better employers. We have to be better at treating them. And the point of what I'm saying is that I always say, treat your employees like it's an honor for them to work for you. Treat your employees like it's a blessing for them to work for you. Treat your employees like it is, it is a privilege for them to work for you. It really is. They're giving up their life for you. They're giving up their life for you. They are. But when they spend 40, 50 hours working for you, or 40, 50 hours working for you, plus travel and spending time away from their family, they're giving up their life for you, their actual physical time here on earth. Their precious seconds and moments, their precious breath, they're giving it up for you. And so you have to be more thankful for that. And so I say that to say, I'm very thankful, very honored, very blessed that you would sit here and listen to me speak and sometimes ramble about different topics. But I want to talk to you about building the 8-figure business, the 8-figure firm. And what's interesting is that the 8-figure firm is originally, my concept for 8-figure firm was a consulting business for law firms. And what I've realized is that it works for anybody. You don't have to be a law firm. You don't have to be, committed to a particular service. You don't have to be committed to a particular product. The principles work no matter who you are. And I've employed these principles. When I originally launched my barbershop, I employed these principles, and we got to a point where we were on track for $1 million in revenue. And then, I sold my interest, and it's kind of like retreated back, because the thing is, if you don't maintain the principles and grow the business, and that's what's going to happen. But still good business. And my business partner, ex-business partner at the time, is running a great operation and shop. But here's the thing. If you want to grow any kind of business, whether it's a law firm, whether it's a consulting firm, whether it's a event planning business, whether it's a tax or accounting business, whatever the business is, there are some principles that are tried and true that will lead you to ultimate success. And by this, I don't mean that it's cookie cutter, because there's a lot of it. There's a lot of variables, especially when it comes to people and people management, because people are like the most unpredictable part of business, despite the fact that I believe that people are predictable. In fact, I if I haven't done a podcast on the predictability of people, I'm going to. But the thing is that people are super predictable, but yet unpredictable in the individual. It reminds me of the movie Men in Black, where it's like, a person is smart, but people are dumb. And so at scale, people are predictable. Like, we travel around the same time, we go to the hotels around the same time, we go on vacation around the same time, and so forth. But the individual's unpredictable. They may have a bad day, and they may have be in a bad mood. They may be having difficulty at home with a spouse or maybe a child. And so that creates a lot of predictability, or lack of predictability in building your business. So that is the hardest part. But the thing is that predictability brings peace. And I've said this before, it's that you don't want necessarily just a profitable business, you want a predictable business. Because if you turn a profit, but there's no predictability in it, next year's a grind again. right? Imagine a scenario where you turn $1 million profit this year, but next year you don't know who's going to sign up and how much money are you going to make and how many people are going to come, because there's no predictability in your funnel. And so if you find yourself in a position where you are scared of the lack of predictability in your business, or you're scared of the lack of predictability for the future, and you want to create more predictability, I'm going to show you how to build the 8-figure firm of your dreams that creates predictability. It starts at the beginning of the funnel, but I'm not going to go into the funnel today because it really requires a more of like a webinar style presentation. I'm just going to walk you through how you develop a predictable 8-figure business, and hopefully you use some of these strategies to build your own 8-figure business, whatever that may be, whether again it's a consulting or a law firm and so forth. And this comes out of my book, The King of Growth. And let me just make one comment about The King of Growth. When I came up with the title, it was actually a friend of mine who we were playing back and forth with the title, and he said, use something somewhat provocative that makes people like question and say, BS, you're not the King of Growth. But then some people, intrigued by it. But the subtitle was How to Dominate Your Market and Increase Predictability and Unleash the Power of Your Firm for Personal and Financial Freedom. So like the whole point was like, how do I dominate this market? How do I create a marketing presence where I am a key component of it? How do I create predictability? How do I use the power of my business for personal and financial freedom? Because there's nothing worse than not having personal and financial freedom and having a business that consumes you and makes you an employee. So if you're out there right now feeling like your business consumes you and makes you an employee, that's not what we want. We want a predictable business. It's funny because I created a predictable business in my law firm. Then I started a consulting business, which brought me back into like the employee state. And so I'm in the process of creating another predictable business. The other day, someone said, that because I'm in my office that apparently I don't have a predictable business, and because I still have to be there watching people. I don't watch anybody. I don't even know who's here. In fact, this morning I saw somebody in the hallway, and I asked one of the workers that I've known for a little while, who was that? And they were like, oh, they work in this department and so forth. I don't know who works here. I don't know. I know the leaders. Do I have an executive meeting? Of course. I mean, it would be negligent to completely step away and not have a couple of meetings here and there, but this business runs on its own, and I can take vacation and I can be off. And that's the beauty of having a predictable business, is that you truly have something that runs without you.
This show has been brought to you by 8-Figure Firm Consulting. At 8-Figure Firm, we help law firms turn into law businesses. Stop wasting your time with gurus who've never built a successful business. At 8-Figure Firm, we'll show you how to unleash the power of your law firm for personal and financial freedom. For more information, go to 8figurefirm.com. Welcome back to the Guts and Glory Show with your host, Luis Scott.
And so today I'm going to talk about how do you develop the 8-figure firm that's predictable, and it comes out of my book, chapter 1. In fact, so you don't have to read much of it. And if you want to find my book, you can find it on Amazon, The King of Growth. I'm in the process of writing a second edition right now, where I'm going to be updating some of the information and also expanding on some of the information, because some of the information needed a little bit more to it. And so I'm going to be focusing on the second edition. It should be coming out at the beginning of 2024. But it's going to be super relevant to the times. And there's 7 points that I want to highlight on page 32 of chapter 1 of the book of King of Growth. And I want to explain it. So don't just go rushing to watch, don't go rushing to just read the book. But the first thing is that if you want to create a predictable business, you have to have what I call the foundation. And the foundation of your business is the vision, mission, values, and the standards. Now, this is what's interesting. We have a 3-part system in the 8-figure firm system, and it's the foundation, the intention, and the transformation. And each part has a different subsection of the business, and each part has a different requirement for your business and the actions that you have to take to create this predictability. But if without a foundation, you're not going to be able to really have something big. I'm in a skyscraper right now. I guess this would be considered a mid-level building, because it's only it's less than 10 stories. But I'm in a building, and I'm on the 9th floor of this building right now. And there is a foundation. There's a strong foundation on this building. And I would be scared to find out if there wasn't a strong foundation, because the height of the building is determined by the strength of its foundation. And in the same way, your business will be determined by the strength of your foundation. And your foundation is your vision, mission, values, and service standards. The vision, which is where are you going, the mission, how you're going to accomplish it, the values, what do you expect from your employees in terms of their conduct, and then the service standards, what is the deliverable expectation for your individual clients? Like that is what makes up the foundation of your business. And so I added 2 additional things for predictability, and that is vision, mission, standards, value standards, your unique selling proposition, and your goals, your company goals, is what's going to equal your message. So that's your message. That's how we communicate our message. So when I think about 8-Figure Firm Consulting, and I think about our vision to be the leading authority in law firm building, and our mission to help 100 law firms reach 8 figures in predictable revenue, and our core values, extreme generosity, unshakable faith, leading a life of significance, the courage to make decisions. When I think about our core values, and I think about our service standards, where we don't cancel meetings on employees, where we deliver the highest level value that we possibly can, where we give more and ask for less. When I think about the standards that we live by, and then the unique selling proposition, I'm a lawyer who's actually built an 8-figure business. That's the unique selling proposition. Then I think about our goals, which is to become the greatest educational tool available to law firm growth. That is my message. So that's what I communicate to the masses. When I'm on social media, when I'm on the show, when I'm on stage, I am communicating those key things. That becomes the message. That should come through in every show. That should come through in every video. That should come through in every email. That should come through in every communication and every speech, is that this is our vision. This is our mission. This is our core values. This is what we stand for. This is what we're going to deliver. This is what makes me unique. And then these are the goals that we have for the future. That's going to create your message, and your message is going to drive the types of marketing you do, and the frequency that you communicate, and how you deliver that message to your client. And so that's number 1. Then what's the brand? The brand is that message that we just delivered. So this is the second thing. So number 1 is the foundation plus USP plus your goals becomes your message. Number 2 is you, meaning you as an individual, plus your message equals your brand. So I have a business partner in the law firm, and we have the exact same vision, mission, values, values, service standards. We have a USP, which is we're both lawyers. We're urgent and so forth, and we have goals. That's the message, but that message communicated by him is different than the message communicated by me, because they're different people. And the message communicated by him creates a brand, and the message created by me creates another brand. So that's the brand. The brand is your message plus you. Now, here's the interesting thing. If you have a message for one business and you, that's one brand. But if you have a message for another business and you, that's a different brand. So for instance, vision, mission, values of Starbucks is plus the owner is one brand. But if that owner owned a different business, probably Elon Musk is a better example of this. He has multiple brands, right? So you have Elon Musk, the individual, and then you have his message for Tesla, and then you have his message for his Cyberlink, and then you have his message for his rocket ship. You have his message for X, formerly known as Twitter. I always laugh at that. Like now, instead of it being called Twitter, it's X, formerly known as Twitter. Like that's the full name of it. Anywhere you read it, if you go online, anytime you read anything about something that someone said on X, they always say such and such said this on X, formerly known as Twitter. Like now that's become the full name. But that is a different brand. It's a different brand. It may be the same person, but it's them plus the message of the business becomes its own brand. So that becomes your brand. Now, how do you create predictable leads? Because that's what we're shooting for, right? We want to create predictable messaging, predictable awareness, a predictable brand. How do we create predictable leads? I believe that when you take your brand, which is the message plus you, and you multiply by 25% of last year's revenue, you are going to create predictable leads. Now, what do I mean by that? If your revenue last year was $1 million and you spent $250,000 in the new year marketing that same business, you're going to create predictable leads. Now, I'm not going to get into how you create those leads, and because that goes into the marketing plan, and I have an entire talk that I can do on that. But just know, when you spend money in marketing and you create awareness of your message and your brand, you will get predictable leads. It works in every industry. It doesn't. Now, if your product sucks, that's a different story. If your service sucks, That's a different story. I'm talking about a person who has a bona fide product, bona fide service, who is selling something that is legitimately needed in the marketplace. If you put out enough awareness about that product, if you put out enough content about that product, if you send enough emails, if you make enough calls, if you make enough offers about that product, you will create leads, period. End of story. And there's no argument. People tell me all the time, well, marketing is hard. Marketing is not hard. Marketing is not hard. What happens is you don't know your audience. You don't know what you're actually delivering. You don't know your message. You don't know your brand, and you don't spend the money. That's it. Because when you become clear on your message, and you become clear on your customer and your client, and you become clear on your brand, and you spend the money, you will take this to the bank, attract people into your business. You will attract people into your business. I'm always surprised, believe it or not, when we find out that we just signed a new law firm to A Figure Firm Consulting, someone I never heard of before. They weren't part of a network. How did they hear about me? Maybe they received my book in the mail, because we sent our book in the mail. Maybe they saw us on social media. We have a couple of those. Maybe they were at my webinar that I do on LinkedIn. If you create enough awareness, you will reach out to the people, but you got to have a business and you have to have a product that doesn't suck, right? So that's really, really important. And so that's number 3. Number 4 is that if you take those leads and you have a sales team that can actually convert, you're going to have conversions, which means you're going to have product that's being sold. Right. So in the product business, you sell the product, you make money. In the service business, you sell the contract, and then you have to deliver on a service to make the money. But in either way, if you develop predictable leads and you have a sales team, you're going to create predictable work. You're going to create predictable conversions. That's step number 4. So now you have your foundation, and USP and goals equals your message and you equals your brand times 25% will equal leads. And if you have correct sales, you're going to get conversions plus people plus client retention equals revenue. Because that's the other thing. You got to retain clients. You have to retain clients. That's like one of the hardest parts of having a service business is retaining clients. And the way you set up your customer journey, the way you communicate with the clients, the expectations that you set, the deliverables that you have will determine if you retain clients. Recently I took my car to the dealership and I wanted to get some work. I have my work. I call it my work vehicle. Like that's not my play car or whatever, but my work vehicle has 170,000 miles and I still take it to the dealer. And they told me that like their maintenance plan only goes up to 150,000. So that like they've reset it. So they're starting as if my car only has 10,000 miles. They're checking certain things. It's a great vehicle. I won't tell you the brand because then I don't want to cause any drama with them or anything like that. But they do a terrible job at retention. Their customer service is not great. It's frankly, I can't communicate with them. They have a text line that nobody responds to. When I call the number, it goes straight to voicemail. Nobody calls you back. On several occasions over the last 2 or 3 years that I've been going to this dealer, on several occasions, I've had to drive to the dealership just to get a response from somebody. And every time they send me out a survey, I complain about it and they say they're going to take care of it and escalate to a manager. Nothing ever happens, like literally. So they're doing a terrible job at retention, but I have no place to go because I want to go to this car dealer. It's just a couple miles from my house. It's the dealer. As my car gets older, I want to make sure that I'm, having the people who work on these cars the most, just doing the inspections and so forth. But here's the thing. When outside of that particular scenario, meaning outside of the scenario where they have no other option, people do have options. People have a lot of options. And if you don't treat them right, they're going to exercise their right to go to another option. And so you want to make sure that once you get that conversion, you have the right people and the right client retention strategy. And that's going to lead you to revenue. Yes, when they sign the contract, they pay you. That leads to money. But if you want long-term predictable, you want to make sure that they're paying you for the full service, not just for part of the service. And you want to make sure that they're leaving you good reviews and they're getting you referrals and so forth. So then you go and you have revenue. So step number 6 is revenue minus your payroll and overhead. So the people, the marketing, the operations is going to be your profit. And so there's 4 primary categories in your business. You have your payroll, your marketing, your ops, and then you have what's called TOB, the total owner's benefit, or the profit. And so once you've done that, you're going to create profit. And then when you do this formula in step number 7 over an extended period of time, you're going to create consistency in your business. So let me take you through this again and again. If you want to see this in paper, you can buy my book, page 32, chapter 1. And if you buy the second edition, I can't promise you it's going to be the same page, but currently in the first edition, it's at the end of chapter 1, page 32. And it's this simple: vision plus mission plus values plus standards plus USP plus goals equals your message. So the foundation plus the USPs and your goals equals your message. Your message plus you equals your brand. Your brand multiplied by 25% of last year's revenue creates predictable leads. Predictable leads by a conversion process or a sales process, will create conversions. Conversions plus the people to manage the services and client retention strategy equals revenue. Revenue minus payroll and overhead, marketing, and so forth equals profit. And consistency over time leads to a predictable business. So that's how you create the 8-figure business. That's how you create predictability. And yes, there's going to be some objections to this. Like I've tried this. I would be willing to challenge anyone that if they did this process, they didn't create a business that they were proud of, because the process works if you work the process. I heard this recently by Les Brown. He said that plugging into the system is important, but being consistency in the system is even more important. And almost any system will work as long as you work the system. And I truly, truly believe that. And this is how you can build the 8-figure firm. It's just one of the steps. There's other information in this book. Again, this is only chapter 1. I wrote a bunch of chapters on how to grow a predictable business, but I've done it multiple times. I'm doing it again. I've helped 15 firms do this in their businesses. And I think that it's absolutely possible if you're willing to work the system. And so I hope that this was helpful. And thank you again, as always, for listening to the Guts and Glory Show.
You've been listening to the Guts and Glory Show. For more and to learn more about Luis, hit the website at luisscottjr.com. For consulting opportunities, hit 8figurefirm.com. That's the number 8figurefirm.com. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review, and we'll see you next time on the Guts and Glory Show.